how long does it really take to heal from the pain of infidelity? If you look it up online, most people will say it will take 2 to 5 years to recover. If you look at people in their own personal stories, it is not uncommon to see people saying that it's 9 years, 12 years, 30 years later, and the pain of being cheated on in the past is still wrecking them. I think the most important thing to recognize is if you are in the early stages, it's been a few months, I want you to take this as a lesson that number one, it can take a really long time. And two, that it's important that you do the right steps now to make sure that you don't end up in the position where it's been 10, 15 years and you're still reeling from this. Because as painful as it is, the most important part is that you don't stay in this pain forever. But why does it happen? If we talk about the people that are still experiencing intrusive thoughts and waves of grief, and it feels like it just happened, even though it's been over a decade, how does someone get into that spot? Well, first, I do want to say that just statistically speaking, it is normal. A lot of people do struggle to really move on. And a big aspect of that is that it is traumatic. And there are two different ways people can react problematically to the idea that infidelity is a form of PTSD and that it's genuine trauma. On the one hand, they can underplay it. And so by underplaying it, they'll say, okay, yeah, it's pretty bad, but is it really traumatic? I don't know. I think I can just kind of get over this. I can just push through. I'll be fine. By just pushing through, by just insisting that you'll be fine, you're often neglecting the inner work that needs to be done. You're often neglecting the parts of you, the parts of your reality, the parts of your ability to comprehend the world that have shattered. And if you don't pick those pieces back up, if you don't do the work of healing, then you're building on a really broken and shaky foundation, and it will not suddenly just fix itself over time. You can build as high a building as you want, but if it's on a rocky foundation, it's going to stay a rocky foundation. The second mistake that you can make, though, is by overemphasizing the trauma. Some people view trauma as this label that is then permanent. Like saying, no, I am a trauma victim now. This is just who I am. This is how it's always going to be. They take it seriously, but they take it too seriously. And the ironic thing is that you end up doing the exact same thing as the first group. By taking it too seriously, you still neglect doing the actual work that needs to be done to heal. Well, what work needs to be done? Like, how do you actually move past this? The first step is to both take it seriously and have hope. You can't do one without the other. If you only take it seriously, you end up going to the side of the person who will overestimate this, turn this into a monster. And it's like the problem just grows and grows and grows with time. It's like this bigger, insurmountable thing each day, where instead of it healing with time, it's just getting worse with time. But if you don't take it seriously, then you're just going to be the person that is slowly bleeding out over time and not even recognizing it, not acknowledging it, like someone who has a wound and it's oozing and it's gross, but they're refusing to go to the doctor. You need to have hope that healing is possible, that change is possible, but you also need to take it seriously. The second thing that you need to do is to try new approaches. So many people will insist that they have found the right thing for them. And so they'll go to the same therapist or counselor, or they'll try the same self-development techniques. They'll try the exact same thing over and over and over again for years. If you find that you're not making any progress in a given approach, change it. Like, try something different. I think there's a reason why that quote about the definition of insanity is used so often. It's just a very normal problem that people find themselves in. They think that they can just keep on pushing down the same exact path and get a different result. They think they can keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And so what are the ways that you've been insane and the ways that you've been trying to heal from this? Have you been relying completely on your partner? Have you been insisting that you have to end things quickly in relationships? Have you been insisting that things have to work out, that you have to stay? What are the things that have been so non-negotiable that you're unwilling to loosen your grip around them? Maybe those are the areas of your life that need to be addressed. And related to this, a huge problem is that people assume that they know the thing that is wrong with them. Say, well, no, I know that it's all just because of my attachment style. Or they'll say, I know that it's all because of this. Typically, if you actually knew, if you were actually right about the thing that was wrong, you'd probably be making at least some progress. You probably wouldn't be stuck years later. It's likely the case that you are completely wrong. What you thought was one issue is actually a different one. Another big problem is that people limit the scope too much. They'll say, I just need to fix this one thing and then everything else will take care of itself. Sometimes you need to fix your entire life at once. And I know that's a daunting thing to say, but people will try to just kind of piecemeal it and say, okay, I'll have a little bit of improvement here, and then once I get that, I'll have a little bit of improvement here. But when it comes to genuine trauma, and especially the type of complex trauma that's typically involved in infidelity, it affects every aspect of your life. And so typically you have to start kind of improving the whole thing as a whole. You don't just fix self-trust in one area. You have to fix self-trust across your entire life. You don't just fix a impulse to control everything in one area. You have to fix that across your entire life. And so one of the problems with how most like counselors or therapists or hypnotherapists typically will approach things is they're very zeroed in on one thing. They'll say, all right, come in today, we're going to work on this one thing, and then we'll pick it back up next week, and then we'll pick it back up the week after that. Sometimes you need a little bit more time and space to just get everything out on the table. And so one thing that I definitely recommend is finding someone, this is how I approach it, where you're able to have like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, not every time, but occasionally, to just get the whole story out on the table, where you're able to actually figure out what's going on, not just in this one area, but across your entire life. Another way that people get stuck, and it's years later and they're still struggling with infidelity, and they're still struggling with the effects of it, like the pain, the overthinking, all of that, is that they have not changed into solution mode at any point. They're stuck in problem thinking mode, not ever getting solution oriented. And what I mean by that is it initially makes a lot of sense to try to find blog posts and videos and podcasts that talk about, okay, what is happening to me? What's going on? Then they'll maybe eventually start to figure out, okay, well, how do I heal from this? But then it's like healing from infidelity becomes their hobby. It becomes the only thing that fills their social media pages. It becomes the only thing that consumes their mind day by day. Sometimes you lose your life to this. Not in a literal way, though I'm sure that has tragically happened, but you lose having a life. When people use the phrase like you need to get a life, sometimes that is literally true. Sometimes people do need to develop hobbies and develop a life outside of the relationship or outside of the idea of needing a relationship. There are so many people who have been happy and completely fulfilled, completely apart from having romantic relationships. I can see your face melting for some of you. Be like, no, that is the one thing I have to have. Why? Who told you that? How did that idea become implanted in your head? There's so much more that could be said, but if any of these ideas are resonating with you, I'd really recommend that you don't just watch this video and then move on to the next video talking about this or scroll. Take a little bit of time to pull out a notepad or to just talk out loud to yourself. Or if you think well just by closing your eyes and like processing something, do that. But figure out what is one way that I've been potentially trapping myself in this cage. Because that's the other piece too. Like accountability is necessary here. If it's been a long time and you're not making progress, you have to take some accountability for that. You can't blame everything on your partner. You can't blame everything on what happened in the past.